You need to get sick and tired of being anything but in your body. Chris Vail. Because until you're done outsourcing your power, bypassing your sensations and emotions, and contorting yourself to fit all of the ways the external world says you should be, you're going to feel off. You're going to fall victim to procrastination, perfectionism, people-pleasing, and you're going to feel separate from true, lasting success, deep, authentic expression, and your deep creative fire. Because all of those things begin in the body. And so long as we are so fixated on meeting the needs of everything out there, we're going to avoid being in our power in our body. You can't fake peace, you can't fake aliveness, and you're done pretending that all of that is working when you feel numb inside. So in this video, I want to talk about what disembodiment looks like, what it's costing you, and I want to discuss why we leave our body in the first place, how to reclaim what it means to live connected to ourselves, and what it looks like to choose embodiment after a lifetime, perhaps, of living otherwise. So, if you're new here, my name's Kev. I'm an award-winning furniture designer, and I help ambitious creatives get into their body and become more emotionally intelligent so they can live a damn fulfilling life now, because the future does not exist. So it all happens right here and right now. So I want to open by really talking about what disembodiment looks like, and I'll give you some quick examples because it's not hard to see, and to avoid being super redundant, pushing through exhaustion, right? Burnout is a great example of what disembodiment looks like. Completely disconnecting from the intelligence, the intuition of the body. And how we get there, we push through our boundaries, we're exhausted, yet we keep hustling. We numb ourselves with productivity. Don't even get me fucking started. Like, productivity for productivity's sake is just busyness, Rarely when we say we're being productive are we tuning in and checking into, is this productive in the direction that I want my life to unfold? Or is this productive because these are the things that other people say are valuable that I need to get done? Nothing wrong with that if that's your job. Of course, meet the responsibilities that are asked of you. And check in with yourself to ensure that that is aligned with where you want to go, because if it's not, then where the fuck are you going, right? Another huge area is saying yes when your body is saying heck no. Be graceful with yourself, because those patterns of self-abandoning are deep. Every single human being does it. I do it. The people I look up to still do it. We all do it. It's just a matter of, can I become aware of it in that moment, own it, and write a new story, right? As far as creativity goes, creating from pressure instead of presence, that is a huge marker of disembodiment. We feel the pressure, we feel the fears, we feel the I need to do this now, this urgency. And that's not the type of pressure that makes diamonds, I'm sorry. I want to say that sometimes pressure can be something that evokes our creativity, which may be in the right context, like some deadline that we choose, we commit, we give our word to, that creates the sort of fire under our ass to really bring a moment of magic forward, sure. But 99% of the times, we are just subscribed unconsciously to pressure, to busying ourselves, to needing to get it done because God knows why, to this has to get done in this way, and it has to be perfect, it has to be yesterday. And that really, really zaps our creative potential. It doesn't create space for us to really be present, which your deep presence is where your best creativity comes from. So if you aren't there, you better be asking yourself, how can I return back home to my body? And lastly, without going down this rabbit hole, is just obsessing over all the external metrics while ignoring your gut, your intuition, focusing on the amount of followers, subscribers, likes, all of those things that don't fucking matter. Not to mention, likes ain't cash if you are a business owner, right? Because many people might look successful on paper, but if your nervous system is screaming at you, that's not wealth. Right? At least not in the world that I believe in. I believe in a world where wealth is a deep, wide nervous system that has the capacity to show up day in and day out and give generously. And being able to receive a fuck ton of money too. That's beautiful. But the reasons why we leave our body are simple, but not easy to rewire, because they are painful. They're littered with trauma, because they're literally our survival tactics that are informed by our deep-seated fears of insecurity, inadequacy, and scarcity that come from the unique traumas we've experienced, Sprinkle in the sort of high achiever culture that many of us in the West grew up in. I know I'll be the first to raise my hand. And as much as I'm grateful for that, you gotta high achieve, you gotta get A's on everything, you gotta show up and put 150% into these things that don't actually matter to you. Again, that's me being sharp. In the moment, those things can be gifts. But this sort of hustle, high achieving culture really can easily distract us from expanding in the directions that mean the most to us individually, right? Because we're taught to think better, not necessarily feel deeper. So we leave our body when we try to think better instead of deepening our presence and our connection to ourselves so that we can feel deeper. Classic phrase that you hear all the time is, oh, I'll think about it, or I'll think up a solution. How about I'll feel about it and I'll feel up a solution, Because you can't actually make a decision without being connected to your gut. The science just points to the fact that you remove the emotional center and you cannot make a decision. So your emotions are in charge of making great decisions. And you can check out all these experiments I have on that exact process in the Embodied Creator Toolkit. The link's in the description below. And not to mention, other ways we leave our body are just this constant need to be subscribed to perfectionism, this sort of shadow of capitalism, and this sort of speed of this, what I would call shadow masculine culture. I don't want to go too far in that direction. I believe that balance is possible. It just takes people like you and I doing this type of work to come into greater balance between our masculine and our feminine, and to be in our bodies and move from that place, right? So we learn to abandon ourselves because it keeps us safe, but now it's costing you literally everything. So it's been intelligent, but now it's time to write a new story. So as I mentioned, it's not hard to see that the burnout, the second guessing, the feeling off, not knowing why, the even resenting your own work are all products of this sort of disembodiment, So how do we reclaim what it means to be in our bodies? Well, first, it means that we need to debunk the myth that embodiment isn't about being calm 24/7 or always having a regulated nervous system all day, all night. It's about being honest and real. And what that means is feeling into your actual sensations and aliveness in your body. What it means to be alive literally means, am I aware of what I'm experiencing in my body right now, and am I fully expressing that? That's alive. Anything else is, you're not alive, you're repressing, you're numbing, right? Because it takes energy to hold things beneath the surface, to push it down. When you are alive, you will naturally be fully expressed. And I'm not saying fully expressed like that color's ugly on you, or it's not being rude about it, right? It's having to do with your own self, right? So reclamation of coming into your body also means having a deep reverence for your no. Learning to listen to your no before your mind starts to talk you out of it. And learning that the only place you truly create that will have an impact and create connection is from regulation, not survival, right? Whether that be art, whether that be the service you provide in your business, or whether that be the conversation with the people that you love. When you are regulated, that is the best foot forward to create more of the life that you want. So being able to know when you are not in your body, you're coming from a pattern that is an insecurity, that now you're in this unconscious fight or flight. You are not well resourced to create the life you desire. And it's okay. The dysregulation is a beautiful part of your process of becoming. It's always there to show you where you can become more free. The practice becomes, can I own what is happening in my body? Can I take a pause, give myself some space to breathe, connect to myself, get my feet on the ground, literally, to ground the fuck down so I can feel my spine, feel my strength, open my heart a little bit more. And then from that place, I guarantee you, whatever it is you're doing, whether that's a hard conversation with your boss or a loved one, or whether that's this hiccup or roadblock on the project that is really throwing a curveball in the mix, I should say, or whatever examples, right? That's going to leave you so much better resourced to create meaningfully and create impact and create fulfillment from the inside out, right? Because when you return to your body, you're really returning to your power. And it's not power that needs to be validated or seen, it's your own inner authority. Okay, so that's a lot. And I just want to recap about what it means to sort of choose embodiment over leaving your body, over dysregulation, you know? This can be as simple, and I know this is like in vogue, right? But this is sometimes, you know, the doorway we have to take is the really simple one, right? Simple is not easy, but is just canceling something when your body tightens up. Like, hey, I really understand that we made plans to have this site visit on Thursday, but I'm a man of my word, but today I just feel like I need to take some space for myself. What do you say we plan for tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.? How does that feel for you? Now that may not be the best example, but that's what I came up with right now because I don't really write this shit down. But it's listening to the body, like, oh, I'm tightening, you know, I feel like I don't have the capacity for that. And it's not to use that as an excuse. This is the shadow, right? This work is nuanced, which is why I invite you to check out the Embodied Creator Toolkit, because it's deep and nuanced and there's lots of shadows that we can fall victim to, right? It's not hiding behind, well, this is my sacred no. My body's tightening, I can't do that. It's like, dude, fucking bullshit, man. We need to be connected to that authentically and not only say no and cancel something when it's necessary, but provide an alternative with integrity, you know? It's not just saying, no, this isn't aligned. It's saying, hey, at the moment, this isn't feeling as aligned as it could be. Like, here's what I would like to see and to feel for this to be a more aligned opportunity. I feel like I would need to make $100 an hour instead of 75, and I would really need your commitment to be there alongside of me for at least 2 weeks. How does that feel? Again, ideas off the top of my head, you can use them in your own examples, right? It's not just about saying no, it's not just about saying this isn't aligned, it's, hey, I would love to choose a more aligned, embodied process of moving forward, of working together. Here's what I would need. Is that something that we can create together, right? And being able to have that really takes you choosing a pause instead of pushing through. Now, in my world, that can literally mean being in the middle of installing a project that needs to get done that day, and encountering something that needs some thoughtfulness and some space. It can be, hey everyone, like, we need to take an hour, we need to leave, we need to get some lunch, and we need to just downshift out of needing to solve this problem so that we can feel through the best way of moving forward. Because every time I've pushed through those moments, I fuck something up. And now that's, as much as that's a great opportunity, right? When I take the pause, I end up creating the space for a much more harmonious unfolding or solution to occur, right? And so what that requires of us as embodied creatives is to create much slower. But what becomes available to us when we create slower is our full truth. Now I get it, it's not glamorous, but it's real. And that sort of realness becomes the foundation for everything else in your life, everything that your life is built upon. So this is more than success, right? This is really about your aliveness. Returning to your body, becoming an embodied creative, is about amplifying your aliveness. It's about letting being in your body be your baseline, what you return to, what you fall to, instead of your wake-up call. Sometimes it's your wake-up call, right? And as I like to say, you don't need another strategy. You just need to stop abandoning your connection to your body, you know? So if your success is costing you your nervous system, it's not success, and it's time to try something different. And that's what I'm hoping to offer you today through this video, and that's really what I'm helping offer ambitious creatives just like you with the Embodied Creator Toolkit and my free newsletter. Be sure to check those out below. So if you're sick of forcing it, sick of faking it, it's time to come back to your body. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. So please subscribe, and I'll catch you soon. Ciao.